Hey, Wealth Warriors. Jackie Ulmer here. And I wanted to share a little bit of my story. I've been teasing you in the Street Smart Wealth School Facebook group. I've been teasing you a little bit about the upcoming Killer Content Formula Challenge, how to really write content and share content online and offline that's going to sell for you. It's going to attract your audience. It's going to build that tribe. It's going to get those listeners and those people who are interested to lean in, which is exactly what you want, and really how to use those defining moments or that mess to become your message. And I've teased a little bit about my Mean Janeen story. Now, I've shared this story on stages across the world, honestly. And it really is probably one of the strongest, most defining moments in my network marketing career, in my solopreneur career, and ultimately my coaching career as well, because it truly is the day that I most wanted to quit my business. So I wanted to share this with you because this is a little bit about, this is the type of stuff that we're going to cover in the Killer Content Formula Challenge. So go to killercontentformula.com if you haven't signed up for that. We start on the 1st, and we'll be going through a few different days of content to really teach you how to dial in on your messaging, dial in on who you're going to project that message to, and how to really create that content that's going to draw those people in. So my Mean Janeen story goes something like this. Just quickly to go back and share a little bit with you, I launched my first business in network marketing in January of 1994. Yes, all that many years ago, almost 30 years ago. Gosh, coming up on 28 years. I can't believe that. But it was truly a decision that changed my life. But as I've shared so often, I'll never be written up in the Network Marketing Hall of Fame as a big fast starter in the network marketing profession. I caught the vision. I wanted the lifestyle, the income, the success, the feeling of accomplishment that it could provide for me. But I had a very negative MLM blueprint, and I really came into it kicking and screaming because I suffered from that syndrome of other people's opinions, paranoia. What will people say? What will they think? How will they talk about me? All of that. And somewhere within the first year in my network marketing journey, I made the decision to muster up my courage and go talk to my next door neighbor, Janeen. And Janeen and I weren't particularly good friends. We were very different in a lot of ways, but I did what I was taught to do in network marketing, and that is to make a list of everyone that I know. Don't edit that list and go and talk to them. So I put together, at that time, we had a little information pack. It was kind of something like this. I had it in a little manila envelope. I had a brochure on the company and all of our programs. It was a telecommunications company. I think I had an introductory letter, and I had a cassette tape. So I'm really dating myself, but I carried that across to her house next door, mustered up my courage, went next door, knocked on the door. And I don't even remember what I said. I'm sure it was way too much information. I'm sure it was way too full of features and facts and figures. Certainly not my story, certainly not the benefits. I certainly didn't ask engaging questions or do any of the things, any of the skills that I've learned and mastered along the way that truly changed my life and my business, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you in the Killer Content Formula Challenge. But all that to say, I mustered up my courage. I went next door. I knocked on the door. I said something to her, and she literally, I'm not kidding, threw her head back, brought it forward, slapped her knee, and laughed in my face. Just like that. I can still hear it ringing in my ears. Laughed in my face and said, "Oh my gosh, you got involved in one of those, or you joined one of those. Those never work." Like, she went through the most shaming, humiliating language that you can possibly think of, that somebody could say or express to you, that especially if you struggled with a little bit of confidence or, fear of other people's opinions. And I don't even remember how we ended the conversation. It didn't last any more than 5 minutes. honestly probably 3 minutes. And I remember slinking home next door and back to my house and slamming the door and going in my closet, my master bedroom closet that it was kind of big. And that's where I went to hide and, think and ponder different things. And I remember laying on the floor and staring at the ceiling thinking, I'm quitting. This is not for me. I cannot do this. I am not cut out for this. This is never going to work. Why do I keep doing this to myself? What am I possibly thinking? And the longer I laid there in despair and compare and wondering what my next steps were going to be, how was I going to tell my husband I was quitting? How was I going to tell my sponsor I was quitting? A vision came to mind for me, and that was the small little faces of my children. And my why got really strong, and it got stronger and stronger as I laid there on the floor, berating myself, judging myself, thinking it would never work for me. But I thought of those two little faces that I had made a promise to, not necessarily to them. They were too young to understand some of that, but certainly to myself, for them, to be there for them, to create a lifestyle for them, to create a legacy for them where they could be proud of me, their mom, to add extra money to our income because it was challenging to make it on one income, to never have to put them in daycare. I had so many components to my why that mattered to me. And I had to make a decision whether I was going to allow a very negative Nellie, my mean Janeen neighbor, whether I was going to allow her opinion to alter the course of my life, to alter the commitment I had made to my children, to my husband, to my sponsor, but most specifically, the commitment that I had made to myself to build that successful business. And the longer I lay there on the floor and the more my blood boiled, I allowed the shame and humiliation and despair over it to ultimately turn into anger. And the thing with anger, I think, is the most positive, negative emotion that we can have, because anger is what gets you up off the floor, or at least me, up off the couch and into action, doing something that can change and make a difference. So I chose to let that anger fuel me. I chose to let that anger allow me to write out a series of affirmations and make a new commitment to my business and decide on the action steps that I was going to take to grow that business into a successful enough business that I would move out of that house, out of that neighborhood, and away from her and build that successful business that I wanted. And that is exactly what I did. Anytime I would find myself falling into that pit of despair or compare or anything that made me want to quit, I would get solid in my why. I would remember that feeling of having her laugh right in my face. I would remember that feeling, and I would get committed again, get clarity around what it was I was creating and why I was creating it, get very into my commitment of why I was doing all that, and move and keep working to move my business forward. And over time, that's what led me to so many things. That's what led me to learning good speaking and copywriting skills. That's what led me to exploring the tools and the options of building my business online. That one defining moment that could have derailed me and caused me to quit is ultimately what propelled me on to keep seeking, to keep finding, to keep growing, and to really develop that skill set that was going to take me where it was that I really wanted and needed to go in order to achieve the success that I wanted and check that box of accomplished each and every day in my business. So I want to ask you, what are some defining moments that you've had? Have you had a friend or a family member laugh at your dreams, laugh at your desires to break out of the prison that a cubicle can keep us stuck in an 8-to-5 job or a 7-to-6 job these days? Maybe it's even your spouse who's doubted you or, said, oh, come on, just, keep your job or go get a job or whatever it is. What are those defining moments that you've had to make a decision? And maybe you're there right now. Maybe you're at that pivotal spot in your business where you're thinking, maybe this isn't cut out for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. What are those defining moments? As I stopped and looked back, as I do now, I look back on, nearly 28 years of owning my own business, first in network marketing and now as a coach and trainer and strategist. As I look back on those, there have been many defining moments. Many times I've wanted to quit, but many pivotal moments where I've been led to the exact right thing for me in my business. And many times when I've had to look at those things that I'm facing and think to myself, maybe this is crazy, or think maybe this is the solution. So what are those pivotal moments that you've experienced? Where are you right now? And where do you want to go? And if you want some help really pulling all this together, dealing with the mind drama, right? We all have it, that comparanoia, imposter syndrome. Who do I think I am? I'm not good enough. My story is either not devastating enough or it's not successful enough for me to be able to use that to get out and share. And I'm one of those people. I did not have that down and out story. I didn't have to build a business in order to keep my home or put food on the table or make my car payments or any of that. I certainly had that desire and that story of wanting more so that we wouldn't just be house poor, living in our house, but not having money for the fun, extra things that we wanted to do without necessarily, always reading like in the menu, reading on the right side versus the left side. What is that I really want to order versus how much is the cost of that? It's so nice when you get to the point of truly just ordering off the menu, choosing the sofa that you want, whatever it is, not strictly based on price. Okay. So the mind drama. Okay. And then the action steps, how to take that story that's so powerful and turn that into that content that creates evergreen systems in your business. That's what we're going to do in the Killer Content Formula Challenge. So again, I encourage you, go to killercontentformula.com. We start the challenge on the 1st. I hope to see you there. We'll be doing lives and trainings and bonuses and all kinds of fun stuff for you. But I want you to go to the killercontentformula.com and watch the 3 videos that I've prepared for you ahead of time so that you are ahead of the game, prepared and ready to go when we launch on the 1st. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to get those answered, and I'll see you on the next video and certainly when we start the challenge. Have an amazing day.